Alright. Alright. Okay. I'm late and I didn't tell anyone I was streaming today, so let's see if anyone actually shows up. It sucked, but it actually gave me time to actually work on the video. But we'll see. We'll see. Alright, let's just put a question in the chat and see. Alright. Hey, my videos. There's my video. Alright. Actually, it is being in time. That sounds weird and gross. I don't know. But, there we go. Let's properly do this like a proper mystical green beanie. Oof. Not too much came out this week, honestly. So like, I don't know. I know Ultimate Universe came out, but like, that's not super engaging month to month. But like, I don't think a lot of Hickman books are like super engaging month to month. I don't know. Hickman's a guy that I just kind of like read in trade, because keeping up with that guy on like a monthly schedule, you just lose stuff, I feel. What's up, John Ty? How you doing? How long have you been lurking there? Or if you just showed up? If you're lurking, I feel like I've been talking to myself like a paranoid schizophrenic, but yo, what's up? What's up? Currently reading Radiant Red. I read Ultimate Universe #1 and Transformers #1 earlier in the day. Yeah, what did you think of Transformers? I saw a video by Perch, and he was like saying he didn't like it. I don't know. I thought it was dope. You know, I felt like I was hearing the "You Got the Touch" song. You got the touch, dude. Optimus Prime like suplexing Starscream with that song playing in my head was like super epic. I really cannot wait for issue 2. Also, like, what did you think of Ultimate Universe #1? I feel like this is gonna be like Shield. Well, not like Shield. Shield actually blew my mind every issue. I feel like this might end up being like a Avengers. I don't know why I couldn't get the word Avengers out of my mouth, especially because I'm doing an Avengers video right now. But like, Hickman's Avengers just did not impress me at all as it was coming out. I know a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, Hickman's doing the Avengers." I was reading it, going like, "It's okay. It's more stuff is happening, I guess." I just was not impressed. And then I read the whole thing in trade, and I was like, "Oh, this is like one of the greatest fucking things I've ever read in my life." So maybe the Ultimate Universe stuff might hit like that for me in like the next 5 years. I don't know. What's up, Supreme? How you doing, buddy? Just showed up. What have you read today? Ultimate Universe #1. That's really all I've read today. I mean, if you watched like my Spider-Man first impressions video, or I guess Spider-Man 2 first impressions video, when I made that comment about how my new job makes it so that I just don't have a lot of free time, and the free time that I do have, I'm just like, I'm tired and burnt out. That wasn't really a joke. I haven't read a lot of comics these past couple of weeks. I'm just really burnt out. But I am buying a lot a lot more comics because I have a lot more money now, but just I'm not actually reading a lot, which kind of sucks because I just okay. So no, my cardigan in my sketchbook, whatever, just fall over. I picked up this bad boy, and I'm like finally gonna check some of this stuff out. I love James Stokoe, so like, I don't know, James Stokoe and Godzilla. That's just a orgasmic match made in like obvious no-brainerville. But I haven't had the energy to read this yet. I don't know. Yeah, that's about it. I haven't read a lot. Yeah, kind of sucks. I do want to go back wow. I do want to go back and read some of the Kurt Busiek and George Perez Avenger stuff because I did find some of that in my collection. And I did find some of the missing trade paperbacks on Amazon because nobody gives a fuck about the Avengers in comics. So they're super cheap, so I'm excited to get those finally. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely check out the Avengers by George Perez and Kurt Busiek at some point in the near future. So that's like my big new haul. That's my big new obsession. I'm not really an Avengers guy, but I'm like kind of in an Avengers mood. I don't know why, I just am. But what did you do for Halloween? Nothing. I went to work, my very soul crushing job, and then I came home and I slept. I did like most of my Halloween stuff with my girlfriend on Hallows Eve though. That's also like our anniversary, so we kind of celebrated Halloween like, you know, on our own that day. I did almost dress up as Spider-Man though, because my coworker was gonna dress up as Venom, but he just didn't. He didn't have his Venom mask. It was like at was that like his dad's house in like Canada. So he was like, yeah, I'm just not doing that this year. But maybe next time. I did play Spider-Man 2, which I guess kind of is horror-y. If like you fall into the category of people that consider Spider-Man a horror character or like a horror-tinged character, which I've had like debates with people about, which is weird that I'm debating this because I don't think I don't fall on any hard side. I see both. I'm one of those centrists. I see both arguments and I'm like, yeah, that tracks. That's fine. I think it just kind of comes down to like, it comes down to your personal bias towards comics and superheroes and what you're willing to see in those characters and what you're not willing to see, and how you're willing to see and like how you're willing to interact with those characters. So I do see a lot of the horror tinged elements in Spider-Man, particularly the Ditko stuff. And then some of that goes away when Romita Sr. comes on board and he starts to play up the gangland element a lot more than some of like the supernatural sci-fi horror elements that are kind of being played around with Steve Ditko. But then some of that comes back in like the 80s. Especially when you get characters like Venom and a lot of the stuff with like the Demo Goblin and all that. Silvermane turns into like a Terminator. like those horror vibes kind of come back and they come back strong in like the 80s and 90s and 2000s. So I don't know. It's just one of those weird things where I don't know. But yeah, I played Spider-Man 2 and just kind of vegged out after a pretty crappy day at work. But what did you dress up as? If you dressed up as anything, I had like these on. My girlfriend gave me these like little lamb, or I guess like sheep. This like little sheep headband. So I wore these, and like a skeleton cardigan and my jeans. I just kind of dressed like I normally dress, but people were like, "Oh my god, you look so goth! Happy Halloween!" And I was like, "Thank you. This is just how I look normally." Oh, oh, every day is Halloween for me. uh, I thought Transformers #1 was pretty good. It's Daniel Warren Johnson, so you know it's gonna be epic. Ultimate Universe was pretty interesting. Looking forward to more Ultimate Universe stuff. Um, yeah, something I did notice in Ultimate Universe #1 is that Norman Osborn and Aunt May are dead. So that's a really interesting. Just that's a weird thing to drop, especially before Hickman takes on Spider-Man. Those are like two core characters in the Spider-Man mythos that just aren't gonna be present, I guess. So I'm fascinated to see where that goes. But for me in Halloween, I watched The Audition, directed by Takashi Miike, and it's a film from the late 80s, or from the late 90s and early 2000s J-horror era. Interesting. Okay. Is it a recommend? Because I'll definitely check it out if it's a recommend. The only modern comic that I'm reading at the moment was the Supergirl one-shot by Tamaki. I'm planning on reading the new issue of the Rampy Detective Comics and Ultimate Universe #1. Mariko Tamaki did a Supergirl book? That's like either gonna be like great or terrible. I feel like Mariko Tamaki is just one of those writers where there's no in between. She's either gonna write like a really great comic or like one of the worst things you've ever read. So I'll give it a shot based on your recommendation if you tell me it's good. Ram V's Detective Comics that's recently come out in trade. I'm gonna try to check that out. I feel like I missed the boat on trying to read it in single issues. I started reading Tom Strong by Alan Moore. Oh, nice! What do you think of that so far? I have that on my it's in my pull box at my comic shop. I mean, they're not supposed to put trades in your pull box, especially like those big ass like Alan Moore compendiums, but I don't know. I used to work there. I get special treatment. But yeah, that's definitely something I want to check out in the near future. Because I absolutely loved Top 10 that Alan Moore did with Jane Ha. That was great. I feel like Alan Moore gets this reputation of being the oppressive, edgy realism guy. But then you read some of his like more fantastical, kind of like poppy stuff, and he's actually like a really funny writer. He's really good at comedy. He's really good at he's really just good at everything. He's a great writer. And I'm really glad that like some of that late 90s, early 2000s stuff that he wrote is being put in like, publication again. More eyes are going to be put on that stuff, and I think there's a new dimension, or not a new dimension, but like another dimension that a lot of readers are going to have on Alan Moore. He's a really funny guy. He's an extremely versatile writer. So I'm glad that I'm glad you're finally getting the chance to read Tom Strong. And I can't wait to join you in the sun. Last year I dressed up as Superman from the early New 52 era with a t-shirt and jeans. Dude, honestly, I could do that. Holy shit, you're right. Except I don't have blue jeans. I need to get blue jeans. But I have a Superman shirt. Fucking man, I might just straight up dress up as New 52 Superman next year. That's a really good cosplay idea. I dressed up as that for this October. Oh, sweet! John Ty got to be Superman. That's dope. On the MCU, there was a magazine article that asked, "What's wrong with Marvel?" It's interesting that so many people are sick of the MCU and very negative about it. What led to this? When did this happen? Um, Basically the thing that I've been saying has been the problem with the MCU since 2016. I think people just sort of collectively came to. Um, these movies started off being very subversive and interesting, and now they're just very cookie cutter and feel like they're crapped out on a conveyor belt. They have a very monotone structure, very monotone, um, uh, very generic uh, approach to comedy and character building. Um, like there are two MCU films now. There are the MCU films that are trying to be Winter Soldier and the MCU films that are trying to be Guardians of the Galaxy. Those are the two MCU films that you get. And I noticed this back in like 2016. It's just they're not. They don't have like that unique flair that I think Phase One had. And the big thing that I think changed in terms of the perception of the MCU isn't really anything with the MCU like changing the formula or anything like that. I think the big thing is COVID. COVID happened, and there was a year and a half long break of just no Marvel movies. And then when everyone, I think it was Black Widow, it was the first one that came out post COVID, and then you got like all the other crap that came out after it, which I can't even remember at this point. Everyone just they just woke up and were like, oh, this is garbage. Like, I don't think the MCU actually changed anything. I think the one thing that the one factor in everyone's like disillusionment with the MCU was just everyone had a break. And then they came back to it and was like, oh, this is actually pretty bad. It's like if you're eating McDonald's every day for like 10 years and then you don't eat McDonald's for like a couple weeks and then you go back to McDonald's and you're like, oh, this is actually this actually isn't that great. You're yeah, dude. That's what changed. That's the real. It's the real secret ingredient there, and it's not so secret. Marvel's doing the same thing now that they were doing like 5 years ago. It's just that more and more people are sober now. The hype is broken. That's the big thing. Once the hype was broken, that's when people were like, "Oh, actually, these are crap." What's up, Tevya? How you doing, buddy? Tristan says, I'm curious if Harry will become the Green Goblin in the new Ultimate Spider-Man book. If that happens, that would be really cool. I'd be interested to see if Hickman does goblins at all, because they were like a major part of the original Ultimate Spider-Man run. So I could totally see Hickman not wanting to retread that same water and just do his own thing. But it'd be really cool. I'd be down to see that. I want to see more Harry Osborn as a supervillain. I love Harry Osborn as a bad guy. I love the 90s stuff under James DeMatteis where he becomes the Green Goblin. I love the idea behind Harry as Venom in Spider-Man 2. I don't actually like it, but I like the idea. I mean, I have a lot of problems with the story in Spider-Man 2. I'll talk about it, I guess in the next, like, 6 months after, like, all the DLC finally drops. Because I want to review that game as, like, a whole. I don't want to just talk about, like, the main story and leave it there. I want to see what the DLC does and how it fleshes out the story and whatnot. Which I suspect Carnage is gonna be like the main figure of the DLC. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I don't, like, what other, like, big plotline was there to follow? Like, all the Black Cat stuff is kind of, like, over, I feel. You know, I also think that, I mean, you could do some stuff with Miles, but I don't care about Miles. And I'd be so frustrated if they made Carnage a goddamn Miles villain. Oh, that would be so frustrating. But, you know, whatever. But, you know, I do think that Carnage is going to be, like, the main villain of the Ultimate Spider-Man DLC. And it might set some stuff up for Green Goblin in Spider-Man 3. Kind of like how the I think the end of the DLC for... No, I'm wrong. The end of the DLC for Spider-Man 1 doesn't set up Venom. It's Miles Morales. But what about the Silk stuff? Apparently Silk was almost gonna be Gwen Stacy, and that just would have been... I'm glad that Gwen Stacy just doesn't exist in the Insomniac universe. If you're gonna like just jump in with MJ, you can just ignore Gwen. Just treat it the same way that like the '90s Spider-Man cartoon treated it. Just Gwen doesn't exist here. she's not real. She's not a factor. But I mean, yeah, I just want to see the Green Goblin. I still think it's weird that Spider-Man is like a decade into his career and hasn't fought the Green Goblin. It's very weird to me. Like it's Comic Book Peter, like Green Goblin murdered his girlfriend when he was like 19. He's like 30 years old now. What has Insomniac Spider-Man suffered? Nothing. It's been, I mean, well, Aunt May is dead, so that is suffering, but you know, still. On the recent Ultimate stuff, the only modern superhero comic I'm excited about is the new Ultimate X-Men by Peach Momoko. Yes, dude, that like preview that she did at the end of Ultimate Universe #1, that was like some straight up body horror, and I feel like it's so interesting that Momoko is going to go in a direction that is so antithetical to what contemporary 616 X-Men is. Like Momoko is just she's harkening back to weird body horror and puberty. That's what the X-Men is. You know, Armor's trying to like pluck an ingrown hair, and then just a tiny little hard light construct body armor pops out of her forehead, like she's in Fooly Cooly or something. So I'm fascinated to see where that book goes. Actually, yeah, I mean, I'm glad I brought up Fooly Cooly. It does give me Fooly Cooly vibes. So I'm really fascinated to see where that book goes. I like Peach Momoko a lot. So I'm down to see what an X-Men book by her looks like. Tamaki wrote the miniseries Supergirl Supergirl Being Super in 2017. So the new one shot out this week was her second time writing for Supergirl. The one shot was good. Okay. I remember liking the beginning of Supergirl Being Super, but not liking the end of it. Interestingly enough, Alan Moore is regretful about his 80s grim and gritty deconstructive work. It's what led him to his more optimistic stuff in the 90s with Supreme and America's Best. I mean, I buy that. That's just what happens with a lot of artists, though. They're young and angry, so they write all this grit and grim and gritty material, and then they just get older, and they're like, you know, What if the laser sword turned into a giant dragon and then everyone smiled in the end? I think it's just because those guys get older and they're less angsty. Frank Miller's the same way. Dark Knight Returns and Daredevil are just pure grit and grime. And then you get to like a lot of Frank Miller stuff in like the 2000s and it's like Silver Age hokiness. So, you know, people just kind of get happier when they get older. It's just very funny when that happens. No, damn it. Toby says I read Marvel Universe issue 1. It was mediocre at best. Damn. I'm curious on how Ultimate Peter Parker and Ultimate Mary Jane in this new series. You know, I actually kind of wish they don't have superpowers. I don't really want to see Peter swinging around with his kids and fighting crime as a family. I don't like that. That's one of those things that just kind of feels too DC Comics for my liking. I feel like Marvel, to some degree, should be a little, not necessarily grittier, but more grounded than DC. I just feel like, you know, in the Spider Family, I hate that term, by the way. There should not be a Spider Family. I don't like that at all. But the Spider Family fights Rhino as a family. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's terrible. Nuke it. Nuke it. Get rid of it. I love Spider-Man 2. It was such an amazing game. Yeah, the gameplay is really good. I love the gameplay. I'll say that. I think the gameplay is really good. Gentai said, so far I've read 3 issues of Tom Strong and I'm liking it. I do hope there's more character depth with Tom, but so far I'm liking him just as an Adventure Man. Yeah, well that's kind of the weird thing with Tom Strong. Tom Strong inherently is... he's a pulp character. So he's not really a character per se. He's more so like... he's like Nathan Drake. You know, like when you play the Uncharted games, Nathan Drake isn't really a character. He's just a vehicle for your own, like, wonder and amazement. But if you think about any of the things he's doing for like more than 3 seconds, you're like, okay, this guy isn't a person. You're like a sociopath. Tom Strong's kind of the same way, and like in the same way that like a lot of DC characters traditionally aren't characters, they're more so like vehicles for like high concept ideas and like really out there plots and whatnot. But I mean, I can't say for certain about that book in particular. The only like Tom Strong, I've only read like the Tom Strong adjacent stuff with Terra Obscura. I read that, which is like it's like the launching pad for Tom Strong. But yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely gonna check it out though, because I like Terra Obscura. Question: do you believe the Ultimate Spider-Man stories will have Ultimate Kingpin in this new series? I don't think so. The big reason why Kingpin was such a major presence in the original Ultimate Spider-Man book was because Brian Michael Bendis built his entire writing career, at least in comics, around crime. Bendis is a crime writer, and Kingpin is the ultimate criminal. But Hickman's like a fundamentally different writer from Bendis. Hickman is more like interested in the crazy high concept science fiction side of the Marvel Universe, not so much the crime. So I think we're gonna see a more high concept Spider-Man with Hickman's Ultimate Spider-Man, and I don't really see the Kingpin being a big part of that. But if we do, that's cool too. I'm down to see that. I just doubt it. True, the Green Goblin also ruined Peter and MJ's lives by kidnapping Mayday Parker. Yeah, that's true, and that plotline's just... I keep saying it's just dropped. No one's done anything with it. It'd be so cool. It'd be so easy to do something with that like idea, but just no one's gonna do anything with it. It's such a shame. Yeah, Christian out Ultimate X-Men's gonna turn out. Yeah, me too. There's a joke in Spider-Man Unlimited Infinity comic in which 616 Spidey meets PS4 Spidey and says that Gwen may be alive in the Insomniac universe, and Peter goes, "Who?" Yeah, I mean, Insomniac MJ is like kind of a weird blend of Gwen and MJ, so you know. Question: what about Ultimate Black Panther? I don't know, but I've heard that book is being compared to Dune. So I'm deeply fascinated to see what that looks like. Let me see who's writing that actually. Yeah, Black Panther wasn't really a big presence in the Ultimate Universe, or I guess in the original Ultimate Universe. Brian Hill. That's another guy who's very hit or miss for me. I thought the Killmonger series he did was pretty good. I haven't read the Blade book that he's doing currently, and I didn't read Fallen Angels, although a buddy of mine swears by it. So we'll see, you know. I definitely like Stefano Caselli's work, so you know. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it's cool that Black Panther's finally getting his due. It's mostly just because the MCU made him relevant, so of course he's going to be a big part of the new Ultimate Universe moving forward. John Ty says, so is the new X-Men going to be like Morrison's new X-Men run, where it's more about the mutants being weird? Yeah, dude, I hope so. That'd be really dope. I mean, Grant Morrison's X-Men is like my X-Men. Well, that and Ultimate X-Men are my X-Men. I love those series. I've tried to read classic X-Men. I just cannot get into it for the life of me. I feel like Chris Claremont is just a very wordy writer. That's like the big thing for me. He's just extremely wordy, and it's hard for me to digest all of it. Just like pages and pages of text, and I'm like, dude, I've read Bendis. I don't think I can read this too. This is too much. Shame 616 Spider-Man is a clutch-a-fuck. Yeah, but it's been that way for like ever. It's been that way since before I was born, quite frankly. So I don't know, man. Then again, Frank Miller wrote Holy Terror. Yeah, but I mean, everyone has everyone. Every girl has smoked a cigarette at least once in her life. You can't hold it against her. I love Mayday Parker having her powers. I mean, I do too. I just don't like the idea of like... I don't like Spider-Man being a Shazam type character. I don't need there to be a family of spider people all doing the same exact thing and quipping and being Look at us. We're fighting bad guys as a family. I don't need that with Spider-Man. Don't do that with Spider-Man. Spider-Man should be like kind of the. Spider-Man should still be kind of gritty. I feel. And I like the idea of there just being one Spider person at a time. I don't even really like the idea of like Peter and Miles sharing the same space at the same time. It should be Peter or Miles. So like, don't crowd this whole thing with multiple Spider people. I don't want to see that. I feel about Ultimate Marvel Universe basically framing Tony Stark as a murderer. Although it's not really Tony's fault. It's like Doctor Doom's fault. Well, not Doctor Doom's fault. It's I think it's like that like Illuminati. It's the Illuminati. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. This might be all the stuff that leads up to him becoming Ultimate Kang. So I don't know. We'll see how that circle kind of closes in on itself. 10 years ago, I was optimistic about Miles and Kamala. Now I'm so jaded and disinterested with those characters. Is there something wrong with me? No, just Marvel fumbled the bag on those characters hard. That's what happened. Miles continues to be the most interesting he'll ever be in that film franchise. And Kamala, I think, is just a victim of her own success. She got way too popular way too soon, and then just like, I feel like after the original what's her name? After the original G. Willow Wilson run on Miss Marvel, that's it. That's it. You don't really have to read anything else. It's kind of over after that. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just, I feel like Marvel kind of like just crapped the bed with those new characters. Still want to see Superboy, Tevye. It's not happening. It's really not happening. I'm sorry, buddy, but that ship is long sailed. DC would probably reboot, and John would come back as a teenager. Probably. That's the reality, man. Yeah. On Marvel horror, how come Marvel struggled to do a successful solo series with Blade? The film version was so successful that the comic version is weirdly not. I can tell you why. It's because those books aren't interesting. Blade just... A lot of his modern comics just aren't great. In fact, it's not even like a modern comics issue. It's just a lot of his comics aren't that great. Blade's just not... Blade is great in those Wesley Snipes films. And really, that first Wesley Snipes film... But it's, I don't know, the comics aren't great. Blade comics aren't great. I'm sorry. I don't know. It's the reality. I would do something with Mayday Parker's being in the 616. Okay. Would you like to see Ultimate Daredevil by Jed MacKay and Pepe Larraz? Yes, please. In fact, dude, I just want to see Daredevil by Jed MacKay at this point. I think Jed MacKay would do a really good Daredevil book. Ultimate Guardians of the Galaxy by Daniel Warren Johnson. That would be a weird thing to see. Especially considering how the Ultimate Universe is far more grounded than the main Marvel Universe. So I'm like interested to know like what a more cosmic side of the Ultimate Universe looks like. Ultimate Nova by Colin Kelly, um, Patrick Gleason, and Jackson Lansing. I don't know who Jackson Lansing is, but I mean I'm down to see Nova by Patrick Gleason. That'd be dope. How would you do Ultimate Spider Woman? Um, I've always liked the idea of going back to Jessica's like the original origin for her, where she's a Shield agent who defected from Hydra. I always thought she was fascinating. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I reinvent that, or how I reinvent that character. Outside of just making her a Peter Parker clone, like Bendis did. How would you bring in Miles Morales, Spider-Man, going into the new Ultimate Universe? I thought about Miles Morales just being put in his own universe again. I like that idea. I think that needs to happen. Miles needs to go back to where he comes from. Man. Nice. Do you believe Miss Marvel Kamala Khan got screwed by Marvel by making her into mutant? I think she got screwed by Marvel way before that, but that's just another screwing of the character, I suppose. What's good, Arcus? How you doing, buddy? Batman Elseworlds graphic novel idea, R-rated Red Hood story. Batman and the Bat Family are dead, and Jason is slaughtering the entire Rogues Gallery like an 80s slasher villain. That would be really cool. That would honestly be dope. I would love to see that. I love when people treat the Bat Family members like slasher villains. When you're looking at those characters from the criminal's perspective, I always think that's a really fun idea. So I think that'd be a great idea. That'd be hilarious. Question: any opinion on Gotham War? I'm not reading it. I'm waiting until it's over to check it out. Heard the current run on Blade by Brian Hill is pretty good. Okay. Question: what about Ultimate Daredevil and Ultimate Elektra? I don't know if they'll be a part of this current universe, but Daredevil and Elektra in the Ultimate Universe, or I guess the original Ultimate Universe, they were fine. But I didn't really care about that book, quite frankly. Sorry. Ultimate Squirrel Girl. I would just make her the most OP version of herself that ever existed. OP Squirrel Girl, or I guess that's redundant. Ultimate Squirrel Girl is just, that's so funny. You know what I could see though? I could see someone trying to be like smart or interesting and make Squirrel Girl like an internet meme or something. Like she's not actually a girl with squirrel powers. She's just like, what if if this was being written by Mark Miller, it'd be like some girl crawling around Central Park naked, wearing like a squirrel butt plug, and then like getting into street fights with people. That's what Mark Millar would do with an Ultimate Squirrel Girl. I don't know about Hickman though. I think Hickman's a little more sober. Yep. That's the word. Hickman's more sober than Mark Miller. So we're not gonna see that. But it'd be funny. That's what I would do if I got to write Ultimate Squirrel Girl. Why do you think Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, is a boring character? I feel like she works as a cosmic hero unless it's an Earth-based hero. The problem is, I think Marvel's trying to fit a square peg into a rectangular hole. Um, yeah, dude. Carol is not Wonder Woman. Carol is, much like a lot of Marvel characters introduced in the 70s and 80s, a deeply flawed person, with a lot of insecurity issues, and I feel like the story should be built around that, but they're not. Instead, she's just like this, like, boss bitch, girl boss. That's it. There's nothing really terribly interesting about that. It isn't. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Um, Good news. Gotham War is over. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I guess I can finally read Batman again. Um, Question: do you believe Hickman will do Ultimate Galactus again, but improve the original Ultimate Galactus? I hope he doesn't mess with Ultimate Galactus, because I love the Ultimate Galactus from it's like the Galactus trilogy. I thought he was great in that. Um, but I could definitely see him playing with Captain Marvel at some point. Because she's like a. I feel like you can tell that Hickman really likes Captain Marvel based off of his run on the Avengers. Um, she's like front and center and barking orders, and she like gets a lot of the cool. Uh, she gets a lot of the cool, like, mic drop moments in like a lot of space battles and whatnot. So yeah, I don't know. I think a Hickman, uh, like ultimate Carol Danvers, that'd be really dope. Um, Question: do you believe Hickman will do Ultimate Galactus again? Oh, sorry, I read that one. What about Ultimate Laura, aka X-23? I mean, I guess, you know, Jimmy Hudson was more or less the Laura Kinney of the Ultimate Universe before the Ultimate Universe got destroyed. So I don't know, man. Um, Ultimate Captain Marvel would be cool. Probably not gonna get that, but it would be really cool. Um, Question: any opinion on Marvel Midnight Suns game? No, because I don't want to play a tabletop game. I don't. I'm one of those people. Um, Tavy says, if the Ultimate Galactic trilogy was good, did not get a sequel. Damn. I got the first 2 volumes of Jeremy Adams' Flash, and I can't wait to read them later this month. They're really good. I will warn you, Jeremy Adams kind of takes an approach to Wally West. He is far less angsty and far less temperamental than classic Wally is. So it is a bit of. There's a little bit of we'll say yeah. I'm just gonna say yeah. Arcus says the maker Reed Richards creates the new Ultimate Fantastic Four. Yeah, except he has a whole list of superheroes, and he's like, well, I have to kill this one, I have to kill that one, I gotta kill that one. This one knows who I am, so I have to kill that one. Um, and like most of the Fantastic Four were on that kill list, so I don't know. Um, Jeremy Adams' Flash run was freaking fantastic in my opinion, dude. I agree. I definitely agree. Um, hmm. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Gotta get some water real quick. That's all. Hey, um, what would you do with the Ultimate Fantastic Four? Like a new Ultimate Fantastic Four? Aren't they dead? Didn't the maker like murder them? Thought so. Um, I also got World's Finest Volume 1 and Green Lantern Earth 1. Dude, yeah, Green Lantern Earth 1 is amazing. That's like my favorite take on Green Lantern ever. I mean, I say that as someone who's not a Green Lantern fan traditionally, but I thought that book was fantastic. It like starts off as kind of like Ridley Scott's Alien, then she kind of like turns into Star Wars. I was really into it. Those are some nice picks. But I'm curious if we're getting Ultimate Fantasy Four return. I don't think we are. I think they're all just gonna be dead. Cause you have like Reed Richards with like a Doctor Doom face. It's like kind of shadow running the Ultimates. Have you read the second issue of the Size Barrier Flash? I haven't. No. My comic book shop has been having like shipment issues, so I didn't get a chance to read issue 2 yet. But I've heard a lot of people say that it's like very cosmic horror inspired, and it brings back some of like those Silver Age Flash concepts, but like makes them kind of spooky. So I'm like 1,000,000% on board with checking that out. Again, it's on my pull list. I gotta wait to read it. Shame Green Lantern Earth 1 never got Volume 3. Yeah, that would be really cool if it did. I know the Earth 1 line is in that like weird state of it's not quite dead, but for all intents and purposes, it's dead. But I don't know. Pietro and Wanda, the ultimate incest twins. We need them back and done right this. Wait, what do you mean done right this time? Nah, I think they were done perfectly well in the original Mark Miller run. I thought they were great. They were hilarious. Supreme says on Red Hood with Jason coming back in the 2000s. It's interesting. He has zero beef with Cass, Steph, and Barbara. He tried to kill Bruce, Dick, and Tim, and Damien several times, but why not the girls? Because he's a gentleman. You know, he's a gentleman in a coomer. He can't bring himself to hurt the ladies. The ladies, they deserve all the goodness in the world. Jason's still a sweet boy at heart. He also knows that Cassandra would absolutely just murder the fuck out of him, so like he's not gonna test fate there. I keep hearing mixed things about this new run. Also, Mike Deodato Jr.'s art on Flash is awesome, dude. Mike Deodato Jr. is an artist who I wouldn't think would be a great artist on the Flash, but I read that first issue and I absolutely loved it. So, fuck do I know? I thought it was great. Wondering what happened to Ultimate Silver Surfer. Well, I really like the Ultimate Silver Surfer from the original Ultimate Universe, where he's kind of like a weird angel, and like he leads these like cults to psychically poison humanity, and he acts like one of those viruses that reprograms your body to not see the initial virus as a threat. I thought that was dope. Ultimates 3 was a train wreck. Yeah, it completely ruined the Ultimate Universe, but I still think we got some cool stuff out of the Ultimate Universe after Ultimatum, so I don't know. The Earth 1 Trinity, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. How would you do it? Well, Ultimate Wonder Woman, not Ultimate, Wonder Woman Earth 1, Volume 3 can't exist. It just can't exist. That's for starters. I guess it's kind of weird because, like, BVS kind of took a lot of my ideas. I mean, didn't take a lot of my ideas. That they're not like painfully interesting or painfully original ideas, but I always like the idea of Superman showing up in a world where Batman already exists and Batman just like freaking out about that. And Wonder Woman being this like kind of figure who is roped into a conspiracy that then forces her to bring the two of them together. So I like that idea a lot. I'd make it like kind of deeply political and you know, I'd make it very I guess the word is like Tom Clancy, because the Superman Earth 1 book is very steeped in it's very grounded, you know. There's a lot of government issues going on there. The government is like, you know, kind of tailing Superman the whole time. So I'm fascinated to see, like, I'd be fascinated to see like what Batman kind of being in that mix would look like. Especially with like Superman from the Earth 1 universe being more akin to Peter Parker than Superman. So I don't know. But basically just BVS. I would just do what BVS did. But that's what I've always wanted to see with a young Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman coming together. So I don't know. Be awesome to see Mike Deodato Jr. on Detective Comics. It would be, but I feel like that's too obvious. Also, it'd be nice. I like when you share some of the wealth of great ideas, and some of the grittiness of comics isn't just reserved for Batman. I like when other characters get their chance to be a little kind of off kilter too. Would you like to see Chip Zdarsky write Green Arrow after the Joshua Williamson run? Kinda. A little bit. I could see that, honestly, yeah. Actually, yeah. Chip Zdarsky... Yeah, Chip Zdarsky is actually a pretty great choice for Green Arrow. I never thought about that. Yeah, man. Question, how would you have ended the original Ultimate Marvel Universe? Ultimates 2. Ultimates 2 is that's a great ending for that universe. You don't have to read anything else after that. Yeah, it's like Ultimates 2, everything up to like issue like 48 or whatever of Ultimate Spider-Man. Ultimate X-Men up to like just before you meet the Hellfire Club. I forget what happens in Ultimate Fantastic Four, but like it just read like all that material and just kind of go like, all right, and boom, we're done. The universe is over. No more. It's done. That's what I do. Um, how do you feel about Philip Kennedy Johnson leaving Action Comics? I'm super sad, but again, just that's just how comics work. You get an amazing creative team, and then they just sort of leave. But honestly, it's better to leave prematurely than to stick around long after your welcome's been worn out. Because I've seen that latter a lot, and it's not pretty. Um, but yeah, man, I've really enjoyed Philip Kennedy Johnson's run on Action Comics. It's like been the most I've enjoyed Superman forever. Have you been reading Radiant Black? Yeah, I have the first 3 volumes right there. In fact, I'll show you. Yep. Got volume 1, 2, and 3 right here. Honestly though, I'm trying to get into Power Rangers properly, and reading that, it reminds me a lot of Invincible. Kind of like how Invincible is Superman for people who think they're too cool to read Superman. I feel like Radiant Black is like Power Rangers for people who think they're too cool for Power Rangers. Which that was me for a long time. You know, I was definitely like, oh my god, Power Rangers sucks. I need to read something else that's basically just Power Rangers instead, but whatever. So I like Radiant Black, but I am reading Power Rangers now, or some of the Power Rangers comics, and yeah, it's it's a weird experience. I'm starting to see how I might come off when I talk about Radiant Black to people who like Power Rangers. I think I sound like people who I think I sound like the people I don't like when I want to talk about Invincible. I hope that's not the case, but yeah. But yeah, dude, I do like Radiant Black. It's really cool. This week for Modern Comics, I guess last week I read the King's second issue of the Wonder Woman book. I do have to check that out eventually too. And Action Comics 1058. All right, cool, nice pull. Opinion or question: any opinion on the Black Hammer series from Boom Studios? I thought it was really good. I didn't like how it unfolded its foreskin and said, "Gaze upon my shared universe," as quickly as it did. That made me lose interest quite fast. But I think it's pretty cool. Everything I've read is really dope. Another Batman Elseworlds, but as an adult. Or another Batman Elseworlds, an adult Tim Drake becomes the new commissioner. He becomes the Jim Gordon to Dick Grayson's Batman. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yes, that's a neat concept. Have you ever read Geiger? I have, and I liked it a lot. I like seeing what Jeff Johns does when he's not just kind of trying to put the DC Comics toys back in the toy box as he remembered them in 1979. I like when he actually gets to be creative and do something interesting. So yeah, Geiger's really good. And I want to check out that other book with Ben Franklin in it. I think that looks interesting. Next year, hoping to read both Green Lantern and Flash by Jeff Johns. Both runs I really enjoy. Well, Flash by Jeff Johns I really enjoy. I can't say that for Green Lantern because I haven't read it. Like, it's one of those things where in theory a lot of it sounds cool, but just like I haven't actually read it, so I don't know. Elseworld, I would love to, or I would do John Kent as a 10-year-old and Damian Wayne Robin going to the Justice Lord selves. Oh, like the Justice Lord's universe and seeing if they exist. Oh yeah, that'd be kind of fun. Do you count Buffy and Van Helsing to be superheroes? They train themselves to fight evil. No, I don't. I don't train them. I don't. I don't count them as superheroes. They are monster hunters. That is a significantly different thing from a superhero. A superhero puts on a silly costume and battles oppression, or much rather, battles an ideological opposition as a means to inspire those who believe in the same political or ethical ideas that they share. That's not really the role of a monster hunter. A monster hunter just kind of goes out and kills monsters. So I don't really consider Buffy or Van Helsing to be superheroes. Good night, Tevia. Thoughts on Jason Aaron writing a 3-issue Superman story arc after Philip Johnson? Dude, I don't know. We'll see. We will see. I consider Jason Aaron to be in the same camp as Tom Taylor. Writers I don't really enjoy, and I also just don't really see the hype behind outside of like a superficial appreciation for the cool stuff that they do. It's cool. I don't know. What's the difference between a supervillain and a normal criminal or mobster? Supervillains have high-tech weaponry or superpowers. That's it. You know what? Really, supervillains have a gimmick, and gangsters don't. So that's like the big difference between the two, I guess. Yeah. Actually, I might make this an early video today, guys. I'm sorry. I gotta get up at like 8:30 in the morning tomorrow. But I do want to do something for you guys, so I might try to stream for you. Hopefully, I'll be able to stream Hellboy Web of Weird. But we'll see. I think I got my internet situation worked out, so I'm gonna try to play. I'm gonna try to stream that game for you guys again. I'm gonna stream that tomorrow. But is the Kingpin a supervillain? No, I don't consider the Kingpin a supervillain. Nah. But alright, guys. Nice talking to you, but I don't want to like fall asleep on stream. So, peace.